God.
You're just gonna need to know.
Yeah, okay.
I need to know the process.
Okay.
I mean,
Good afternoon. We're ready to reconvene.
Thank you.
I went outside to
On
make it
City
stop.
Council Bill 12-0152, TransForm Baltimore. We are now,
Me neither, ever.
right, we're starting on page, we're starting on, first of all, we're on Title 17, excuse me. We're on Title 17. We're starting on T554, page 285, lines 33 and 34, which is the planning department. What are you doing, Facebook?
That's a no. Work. Jeez. I'm sorry.
Page 285, lines 33, 34.
Oh, my God.
That's 17-203, sign and premise maintenance.
Oh, this is the language to insert the obsolete signs must be removed, and,
This it?
Can't hear you. You got to talk in the mic.
I'm sorry,
Mary Pat?
554, right?
Yes.
This was a recommendation that a sentence be added in this signage, the maintenance section that says that deems a sign obsolete when the use related to the sign has been discontinued for 180 days and sign and structure must be removed when obsolete. Extensions may be granted by the board. This is to basically require property owners not to leave up the often broken, out-of-date signs
Right.
on their building when a business closes. So it is to just one additional line in there in 17203.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Do we have the exact language?
I think what I wrote is probably fine. I mean, it could be tweaked. I'm sure Avery will tweak it, but
What line?
I will give you the line in 1 second.
Is it after line 34? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, probably.
And what was the
Into-
language?
Or between 32 and 33?
Page 285, 17-203, and it shows 33, 34, correct?
Yeah, I would do it right after 34.
34 after
Yeah,
34.
and the in general. Yeah,
Words?
and just say deem, or I mean, I guess the wording should be a sign is obsolete when the use related to the sign is discontinued, etc. Make a .3 there.
Good.
Okay.
Okay. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Kraft. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Clark. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. T554 passes. We are now on, I have to the committee, T919, page 289. I don't see anybody on here for a sponsor, but it states clarify banner section with Department of General Services Authority versus zoning. And it says we need language. Does anyone in the committee
Don't know what
wanna
that is.
tackle that, or just no motion or whatever? It did say planning, is it?
No,
Can you respond to that? Do you have any input on this?
no, I don't.
Nobody- No, okay, so there's no motion. So we are now on planning, it's T557 on page 292. Page 292, T557, page 292. Wow, they got the line on it this one. Line
Yes.
18 through 29. I'm impressed.
Yes, thank you. And that is limiting, this came to the Planning Commission from the real estate community, and it's about their signs, treating them as temporary 4 times a year, and the language is limiting real estate signs to the first floor of a building and treating these real estate signs like temporary wall signs. They may be up at the start of a vacancy for 30 days and may only appear 4 times per year.
Any questions on the motion?
Yeah, I have a question on that. A lot of things, at least in my area, a lot of the real estate signs are over top of the door, over the transom. They're not on the railings. So if they're over top of the transom, they're really above the first floor. They're not, they really are at the second floor of the house. And so I don't know if this creates a problem.
That probably didn't come up. I don't think there was, this was an absolute passionate piece here, but this was a suggestion that came to the Planning
Yeah,
Commission.
I don't think we should put something that conflicts with what's going on all the time. I mean, you can see them all over the city. People put the real.
I'm seeing roof line. Are you seeing second floor?
I'm looking at where it says page 292, change 17, limiting real estate signs to the first floor of a building.
Again, this is only in the section under multifamily, of course. So your row houses would be down starting on line 30.
Still.
I mean, again, just to clarify.
If you got a big house in Brewers Hill, and it's got 4 apartments in it,
You okay?
still posting that sign over the door,
You haven't missed anything.
you
Okay.
know? It's on the second floor.
We'll defer to the committee on that.
So I just want to say that we are joined by Councilman Warren Branch. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, sir. So where's the committee? Do I have a motion to move or on this or what?
Not if it's not if Jim doesn't like it.
I don't, there's no motion? Okay, so there's T557, no motion. We're now on T558, page 293, line 1, Councilwoman Clark.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is T558 is my proposed amendment with regard to real estate signs, and I'm just going to try to shrink a couple here. That in residential and office residential districts, single-family row house and multifamily 19 or fewer units, I would ask that real estate signs it says on page 293, line 1, the sign may not exceed 6 square feet in area or 6 feet in height. I would change the height number from 6 feet in height to 3 feet in height. Move that amendment.
Okay, do I have a second? We don't have a second?
I don't have a second.
Okay, so, yeah, Councilman, you got a question on the motion?
Yeah, I got a question. So if you cut it down to 3 feet in height,
That is 2
then
feet
you'd be
wide.
having
A pretty long, narrow sign.
Yeah, a sign a yard long, right, a yard long and 2 feet wide.
I guess,
I mean, that
something
would
like
be
that. Well, here's my problem. This is for residential neighborhoods. I mean, it runs the gamut. I don't want real estate signs in neighborhoods like row house neighborhoods that I represent to be 6 feet tall. I mean,
The banner.
you won't, yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah, but
I
is
don't
that-
want
My question to that is, you're talking about if it's 3 feet in height, then it's 3 times 2 is 6. So you talk about 2 feet. Is that going to be, regards to real estate? I mean, is that sufficient in size for them to advertise?
Well, it's just like candidates for
anything,
office.
yeah.
Nothing's large enough to satisfy. But I'm trying to see whether we could keep people buying Venetian blinds and curtains in their homes and not trying to ensure their privacy with real estate signs. These are 6 feet tall in a front yard of a row house or front of a row house is a lot of sign to sell a house.
All right, so, I mean, all right,
Well, I mean,
you
yes.
making a motion on this?
Move the change from 6 feet high to.
Is there a
3.
second?
Second. Oh, thanks.
Second by Councilman
Ranch.
Branch. Okay,
Yes, we're still on, yes. Uh-huh.
okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. T558 passes. Right?
I'll take it.
Okay, now we are on T559.
Thank you, everybody.
Which is page 293, line 8.
Keep going. Mr. Chairman and members of the
And I'm
council.
the president, Mr. Chair.
In this, I am, now these are all other districts besides OR residential and, multifamily under 19. I'm reducing the sign from 36 square feet to 16 square feet and from 8 feet high to 4 feet high. I'd like to move those two changes as Amendment 559.
Wait a minute, okay. This says in all other districts?
That's what it says.
It's on line 4,
Yeah.
line 4, page 293.
Actually, it's on line 8.
No, she's saying all other districts is 4.
Oh, yes. Now, I'd be happy to cut and paste some distinctions here between districts, but this is pretty broad swath.
Okay. Simon,
Like
now let's
IMU
see.
shouldn't be.
16 square feet. Okay, that's 4 by 4.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
In the air, or
I'm
4 feet
5
in
feet,
height.
so it's like this tall.
In this one. Yep.
All right. Huh?
It's
So
big.
do you have a motion on the floor for
I do. I'm
T5?
waiting for a
Huh?
second.
Moved by Councilwoman Clark, second by Councilwoman Middleton.
My
You got a
question?
question on the motion?
Yeah, in an OR district,
We covered.
you can build a building in an OR district that's 80 feet tall.
Right, not in my district,
But you can, well, I mean, legally, you can build a building in an OR district that's 80 feet tall. If you had a building that were 80 feet tall or 60 feet tall, to limit the sign to 16 square feet on a building that could be, 60 to 80 feet tall is not much of a real estate sign on a building of that size.
Well, yeah, but why, but who's gonna see it? If you put it at eye level, then people driving by or walking by
Well,
will
you'd
see
have to,
it.
that's why you'd have to have a bigger sign at a higher level.
Well, or you could buy advertisements on television and the newspaper. People,
That's not-
word of mouth, in other words, I'm not kidding. It's, how many people rent places because somebody's put a big sign out front? They do it because word of mouth advertisements.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean,
Agents.
okay, you want to call the question?
Yep.
Call the question.
I'd like to call,
Councilman Mosby?
I could just say one quick point. I think too, that the point of this is not necessarily for like onesie twosies, but like, and unfortunately we don't see this often in the city, but large scale housing developments. Like if you drive out to the county and you see the large Ryland sign because it's a green land and they're like building out a particular development. And, you know, I'm okay with that. I think that our focus here is kind of just looking at it as like individual properties. And of course, we don't want an 8 feet sign in individual properties like that. So I guess if maybe there was some type of way we can section off, you know, brand new large scale developments as opposed to onesie twosie type of sales of properties. Is that what you're getting at, Lori? Do you understand what I'm?
I believe the council committee just voted on the residential sign reduction already.
Yeah.
That's what your first vote was on that section that takes care of both residential as well as multifamily.
But that
The
was the first
section
vote.
that's being discussed at this time would be your commercial areas. It says all other districts, it's primarily, you know, your commercial corridors, your shopping centers, your downtown.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was reading the wrong thing.
Well, you already voted on the
Yeah,
amendment.
no, that's fine, okay. That one.
Okay, for residential.
I was looking at the wrong thing.
I just, yeah,
Oh,
Councilman Mosby, I mean, I'm trying to visualize that in a commercial district, you're looking at a sign that is basically 16 square feet, which is 4 by 4, 4 feet by 4.
No, this is the thing we had decided about the banners.
No,
No.
this is not banners. This section is, Title 17.5 is all signs that are exempt from zoning. So the whole premise of this section is if you do, you know, this, it's exempt from zoning. If you want to do something different or more, it's not exempt. So that's how this is all organized. And
I don't even know what that means.
so what we're saying here is under real estate signs, we broke them into 3 categories and said temporary real estate signs are exempt from zoning. You know, you need to be able to put up the for sale sign. If you follow these rules, you're exempt. And that's the construction here.
Are we, Councilman Kraft, is that question answered for
Yeah.
you to call the question?
I'm not, yeah, I'm gonna go back. I think this is the one that I was talking about the last time, and correct me if I'm wrong, Laurie. So we have a real estate sign, and we were talking about Harbor East, and you have the boards up in front of the construction site, and it says leasing, you know, coming soon.
Yes, I recall.
Right, coming soon, you know, whatever development, apartments, retail space, whatever, all on that board. And that board could be 8 feet tall, and that board could be a half a block long. And as I think the example I used before is then, you know, all of a sudden, you know, Jimmy John's becomes a tenant, and then it says, you know, watch for Jimmy John's in April, and then,
That's the Councilman Mosby's idea too, if it's Ryland Homes or some bigger
right.
thing.
But, so if we put down that these real estate signs in all other districts, then we're talking about, that's a C district.
My
That-
suggestion would be to get to your goal of, I'm sorry.
I mean, I want to protect those
Right.
types of
I think
developments.
those are really a different animal, and what I would suggest is doing an insert, a section in between 513 and 514 that talks about temporary construction fencing and the type of signage allowed on construction fences.
May I say something?
Because you can't, it's somewhat apples and oranges between, you know, your for sale sign on your house versus your whole long fence.
no
So I
question.
think it needs its own section.
Okay, Councilwoman Middleton.
I think the whole idea here is we're trying to modernize the city and really make it a nice urban atmosphere like we see in other cities, you know, the green, our city is so congested with old ways of marketing. And I think we have these businesses, especially places like Rye, you know, they have money and they also have a marketing department, you know, or they should. You know, we have websites. They have to start thinking of other ways instead of putting big signs everywhere. We're so congested with just that kind of signage. This city needs to be updated with other ways of advertising that I see works well in other major cities.
What about the concept that Laurie was just talking about, is that we would create a separate section for the construction signs and that sort of thing?
That sounds like
Because the construction sign has two benefits, I would argue. It also covers some of the unsightly aspects of a construction if you know, put something on that fence.
Okay. Wait. Okay. I just want to make sure.
And I've seen that happen in places like Miami and Brighton.
Right, it has two benefits, I would think.
Okay. All right. So the understanding is that we will develop language for whether it'll be a new 17514, and we will renumber accordingly after that. But can we make a note and we'll come back on that? Okay. All right. And then we're going to go to the
call it
amendment.
Construction-related signage or something.
Okay, so we have a motion on
Yeah.
Amendment 559, and that was made by Councilwoman Clark.
Correct,
It was
and that
seconded by
seems to-
Councilwoman Middleton. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Okay, all right.
Yes,
Our next
yes, you
one
Don't
is
worry, we held them up.
T561, and this is the Planning Commission. This is page 294, line 7.
Yes, this is under the section, again, we're in a new subtitle now, and this subtitle is all about the prohibited signs. We kept the language from our current code, which was established by this council in 1999 to prohibit new billboards in Baltimore City. There has been some discussion about it, but we ended up recommending keeping that language. This amendment would simply eliminate any loophole that someone could slip a billboard into a planned unit development. So, because planned unit developments allow the applicant to vary signage, we wanted to make it very clear it would not allow them to add billboards.
Hold on. So
It would go on probably page 294, line 7, right up front, that makes it very clear that after prohibited, what the language that we've suggested is after the word prohibited on line 7, say, and may not be modified as part of a planned unit development. May not be modified as part of a planned unit development. In other words, prohibited should mean prohibited, and you shouldn't be able to use the planned unit development to slip in signage that is otherwise prohibited.
Remove it as part of
well,
We can
But-
always remove signage.
but if you wanted to, if you were doing, I'll use Harbor East as an example, or Harbor Point. If you were doing Harbor Point, and as part of the Harbor Point development, say, and I'll just pick somebody, Nike wanted to put a store out on Harbor Point, and they wanted to put a neon sign, Nike sign, similar to the Domino's sugar sign, you know, with a Nike ad facing the water, right? under the general billboard prohibition, they couldn't do that. But if they came in under their PUD and as part of the PUD put that in, then it could be approved as part of the PUD unless you put this in here.
Correct, and our intention was to not have that. If the
Or-
council
or sim-
disagrees, that's, you know,
Or similarly, like Port Covington, where they're talking about all the potential development in Port Covington, some of those drawings there had some significant signage in it.
they would not be billboards. The definition of billboard is that it's advertising something that is not made or sold on the property. In other words, it's
I got it.
yeah. Billboard, the proper term, I believe, for billboards is general advertising. And the definition's the beginning of 17. Again, I can't say that the discussion of billboards is not without controversy. And it is somewhat ironic that we prohibit them and then heavily tax them. But we did not move to change that from the current code.
Where's Jack on that?
Ain't nothing on here.
There's no motion.
Huh?
There's no motion.
Somebody would ask them to make a motion.
There's no motion.
Okay, do we have a motion on T561?
No.
No? No motion on
Wait a
T561?
minute. What is it? Which one?
561.
T561. Planning, page 294, right?
Oh,
What page
planning.
is that? Yeah.
Wait a minute. I have Mr. Chairman, I have something that shows up on the chart earlier, but that comes in on page 294.
We're gonna get to that, but I mean, we're asking this one here, if there's no motion?
Sorry.
No motion.
There's no motion on T561.
I'm-
Councilwoman Clark, you're supposed to remind us on this one that was T6,
35,
T635,
yes.
which is page, what was that? Page
294 going over, 294 going over to 295.
295.
Mr., may I start?
Okay.
Tell me when I can say, when I should make a motion and explain it. Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, basically, this is really, in many respects, a joint motion, myself and Councilwoman Middleton, because the ideas, a lot of the things in this amendment can't come out of her bill that is before the committee as a separate piece of legislation. However, what we have before us is 17-602, page 294, alcoholic beverage and cigarette advertising signs. Here are, the amendments are as follows. On your page 294, we retain the general prohibition section down to line 12. We then amend, we also retain B exceptions down through line 21. So everything from the top of alcoholic beverage down to line 21 is really untouched, and then the amendments kick in. It says this section does not, and it says basically that you can't, basically it says you have to limit your exhibition of signs, posters, etc., advertising alcoholic beverages, etc. Then it comes down and gives you exceptions. The placement of signs, and so the section does not apply to the placement of signs, including advertisements. I'm on line 23. Doesn't apply to inside a licensed premises. B, it doesn't apply to on commercial vehicles used for transporting alcoholic beverages or cigarettes, as the case may be. But it does begin to delete, and it removes the exemption for contemporary or one-day alcoholic beverage locations. It deletes line 31, the exception for any sign that refers to beer, etc., solely by way of general description. It deletes Roman numeral 4, line 33 and 34, neon or electrical charge sign. All right, all the way through page 295, line 2. It keeps that as allowed any sign on an MTA bus. We don't have authority over that. Any sign of property owned, leased, or operated by the Maryland Stadium Authority. We don't have any authority over that, and they're government agencies. It does then finally delete lines 6 and 7, page 295, any sign at a facility that operates under a license issued by the state business regulation article. All right, so.
Councilwoman, can I ask you?
Yeah.
On page 295, on line 2, are you decreasing the percent of the window from 25%? You leaving that?
No, here I come
Delete the
now.
whole thing out?
Well, I
Then,
wanna talk about that.
what I've done, all right, go back now to line 294, where we have Roman numeral 2. That starts on line 29. That is deleted as such and replaced with the following language. And the following language is, on your sheets, it's this last double-spaced paragraph, and it says, amend to delete and replace with. So Roman numeral 2 becomes one sign, this is what you can have. One sign only per street frontage, whether a window or wall sign, whether permanent or temporary, that contains the name or slogan of the licensed premises has been placed there for the purpose of identifying the licensed premises, providing that the total of each sign, whether permanent or temporary, including window displays, covers no more than 15, amendment there, 15% of the window or exterior wall area on which displayed. All other window and exterior wall signs and displays are prohibited. For purposes of this subsection, one window is comprised of all the glass panes within the main frame of the window area. The maximum 15% coverage applies to the total area within the external window frame. That's the amendments, the
Okay.
deletions, and this language.
Okay, so we got that. Is there?
I'd like to move it.
Okay, so do we have a question on the motion?
Yeah, I have a question.
Question, I mean, moved by Councilwoman Clark, there's a question, Councilman Kraft?
Yes, the neon or electrical charge sign that is on a licensed premises, I know that I have a number of places that have had specially designed neon signs made in order to accommodate the square footage requirements. We're reducing the square footage requirements from 25 to 15, which is going to make them have to take signage down as it is, but to make them have to take down the neon signs also, I don't see why, if they're putting the signs up, right, and they're allowed to put 15% up, right, then why can't they be neon? But, I mean, what's the difference?
You can leave it neon.
I don't, okay,
I don't have a problem.
if
Okay.
this helps you,
You don't have a
Councilman.
problem with that? Said the
But
committees-
wait a minute, let me see what it says.
I think you need to delete the not, but not counting the window displays. I think you'd need to delete that.
Oh, no, I can't do that because that's a big problem.
No, I'm saying we take, or leave it in,
Otherwise, window display-
whichever way helps you, whichever way accommodates what you need.
We need, all right, let's go backwards. Let's grandfather in,
You're saying.
Yeah, well,
but that would have to, I mean, wait a minute. I don't want to lose this because we will never get back to it. Councilman, if you can write something that preserves what we're doing here and lets the neons,
Well, let me-
grandfathers them.
Well, let me talk through this for a second,
Okay.
okay? So starting with number 4 as it is, okay? The bottom of page
Yeah.
294. Okay, so as it reads, any neon or electric charge, right, as long as the total of all window signs, whether permanent or temporary, but not counting window displays, is no more than, and we changed 25% to 15%, okay, because that's our number, is 15%. But my question is, and this is where my question comes, okay, as long as the total of all window signs, whether permanent or temporary, but not counting window displays, is no more than 15%.
You know,
So if you
that-
don't count the window displays, then you could have a lot more than 15%. So you probably want to take out not counting window displays. You want
I
the
do.
entirety. That's what I'm
Are
saying.
you saying that, oh, okay.
You see
Because
what I'm
window-
saying?
Yeah, just, it can't exceed 15%.
Right, so then that's why
And if you
you-
want to have neon, go crazy.
Right, so that's why I'm saying we should take out but not counting window displays, because that gives you more space.
All right.
Whole thing.
Right.
Whether
Okay.
permanent or temporary. All right.
Okay.
Let me read it. Any new neon or electrically charged sign that is on a licensed premises and installed inside a window, as long as the total of all window signs, whether permanent or temporary, is no more than 15% of the window area, right?
Right.
Okay, I got it. Stephanie, you got it? All right.
Okay, so,
I just have a question here, Pat. What about pre-existing? What about pre-existing?
For the committee's benefit, unless, and I could be wrong here, I'm looking to the law department, but unless you specifically call for amortization, any signage that would legally have existed on the date of the enactment of this code can stay.
So it's automatically pre-existing is
Exactly.
permitted.
The only place in this code as drafted that we have called for any amortization or removal is related to the liquor stores. So that goes throughout on any topic. If it's there today and legally established, which, you know,
It gets
may
to
not,
stay.
it stays.
Grandfathered in.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you have to know.
Question. So, since we're gonna roll back whole establishments in a couple pages,
Who said that?
we'd like to roll back signs. I mean, most of them that are covering all these windows are more than the legal level right now.
Councilwoman, if you may, I hate to interrupt, can you go back, what was that, line 4?
Sure.
Item 4, can you reread that?
Yes, I'll read it again.
Yeah, please.
Oh, I'll read it and then I'll give it to you.
Right here.
4, Roman numeral 4, any neon or electrically charged sign that is on a licensed premises and installed inside a window, as long as the total of all window signs, whether permanent or temporary, is no more than 15% of the window area.
Okay.
So I have a question on this.
You want to use the microphone?
On this point, what you're going to be headed towards is the non-conforming liquor licenses. But how about the ones that, because of TransForm, are currently non-conforming but will become C1s? What does it do to their
It
signage?
applies to all the signs.
Again, this applies to all signs regardless of the business.
One or whatever.
It applies to all signs. It applies to all new businesses of any type. And as you've inserted it in this section, it's not just liquor.
It's non-conforming now, and it's pre-existing more than 15%. But it has morphed to be C1, but that sign pre-existed when it was non-conforming.
Again, if it's legally established, it could stay.
Say that again?
If the sign was legally established, it could stay.
Under non-conforming, and at C1, it's permitted to remain.
In theory. Now, as I think Councilman Clark mentioned, many of these signs were never there legally. So that's why I'm
They were-
carefully qualifying.
If they stuck to 25% when it was 25%, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Exactly.
But it hasn't. So, but nonetheless, my point is, and the point well taken by my colleague, is this. I want to roll them back. So, in other words, because there's no way for us to know whether the sign you have in your window today is the one you had in your window 5 years ago when we passed this law. No. I want to roll back, give them a year to get the signs out of their windows, and then start citing them, because if we just grandfather signs that are stuck up with tape, we might as well not have wasted the time we've wasted on it. So I would like to add.
That would go in Title 18 with the amortization on nonconformities.
Okay, nonconformings, right?
Make a note, I think it would go in Title 18,
I've read
where
it.
you have the 2 years on liquor stores, you would add
Okay.
a section
We
on
should vote on this.
nonconforming
We
signage.
still could
We can
on
vote
this.
here on this, and then.
And
All
then-
right, yeah,
Right.
there.
Can I ask
Well,
one more
it's
question?
not, it's coming right up.
Councilwoman, let me ask one more question. I just want to understand it to make sure we're not
Don't,
undermining something that happens sometimes. Okay? On page 294, lines 27 and 28. Okay?
yeah,
And it may fall in another category, so I just want to make sure.
Sure.
Okay, so it says in conjunction with a temporary or one-day alcoholic beverage license granted by the board, okay? So a lot of times for a festival, right, you might go to somebody and say, we'd like to have a banner made for a festival. And the person may say, you know, like Miller
Yeah.
Light or something like that, beer company. They may say, we'll make the festival, but, I mean, we'll make the banner, but we want to put Miller on the banner, Miller Lite or Budweiser or whatever. If the way that they're selling the beer at that festival is because of the one-day permit, if we say that you can't do it in conjunction with the one-day permit, then we would be prohibiting soliciting these people to be sponsors for these events because
they can't put their sign up.
they couldn't put their sign up. It'd be the same thing as if you were selling beer at a one-day event, you wouldn't be able to let them put their sign up because of it's a one-day liquor license. And I don't think that we necessarily want to do that.
I just want it, I would want it to be totally dissociated from an actual establishment.
Okay.
So that's exactly,
All right, so that
Councilwoman.
takes care of what you're talking
It's the
about.
bubby.
So we could say,
So you could say, I
with the
mean,
exception of special events which are specially permitted or something.
bar is having, or this carryout.
I don't believe liquor stores get one-day licenses or liquor. So I think they're apples and oranges. They may sponsor an event, but the store, I don't think, can get a one-day license.
They can get a permit to, because we get these, this happens in Southeast, they can get a permit to sell outside of their, out in front of their
Right.
facility.
But they don't
But
need
that's
a-
not a that's not a one-day permit.
Right, and besides, they've got the sign up, they're standing
Right.
in front of it, they
Yeah.
don't need a
No,
sign.
I mean, these one-day permits are really about people that are having a special event.
Like someplace in a field,
Right, exactly.
a festival, yeah.
A festival. And we don't want to take that away. I think we are.
Let me ask planning or the law department, is that taken away, is Councilman Clark's amendment taken away from
To the
from
extent
that?
I can,
Let
the
me
extent I can
ask
follow the
that question.
conversation, I think it does.
Huh?
I think to the extent to the extent I'm following the conversation, I think it does take away.
It does? Okay, so I don't think we want to do that, right?
Yeah, but we need to put in the language that, I need a word that says, that makes it clear. I don't want somebody using this.
The word in conjunction with, take care,
Law department, can you come up with a word?
Oh, God,
conjunction
God
with.
help me out.
We have all lay people here, we're trying to think of a vocabulary
Well, that's
word.
all right,
Approval of from the
is,
liquor.
Is the committee's goal to permit a very flexible signage approach for one-day licenses? Which is what's drafted here.
Yeah,
not to include anything within it, not to include special one-day licenses associated with a specific licensed premises. In other words, we don't want to somehow use this, have somebody use this as a loophole for all this signage.
now, let me just add to that. I mean, let me,
Are you okay?
yeah, to the,
Okay, we're
Never
okay.
had a problem with those.
We're okay. It's okay.
Okay.
I'll take it out as a deletion, okay? Yes?
All right.
Yeah,
right.
leave it in.
Okay.
One
leave
day.
it in.
Leave it
Anything
in.
left?
So do I have a motion? Are we
Okay.
finished with the question on the motion?
Okay.
Okay.
We have a motion?
All right, members of the committee, I'd like to move adoption of the amended amendment. And basically what we've done is, we will not delete section C, lines 27 and 28. We will leave that as is. That's the one-day license.
Right,
You can have a festival.
we got that.
We will leave the rest except, no, when we come to Roman numeral 4, we have changed the language, as I've read twice now.
Right.
And then we've added the language, as you see on your printed sheet, and that hasn't changed. I'd like to move that
Councilwoman.
amendment.
Did change to 15%.
Did we change to 15?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, thank you,
15%.
Jennifer. It is, because it's on my sheets changed, it's 15% coverage
Right.
of a window. And of course, a window does not include all those mullioned
Mullions.
parts. It's
Yeah.
the whole window frame area.
Right,
But that's in here.
okay.
Moved.
Clark moved,
Second.
Sharon Green Middleton, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. And 560 or 635 passes. We're now on, okay, to the committee, this is T 560, page 294, lines 9 through 12. And this came from,
That's gonna be good.
17,
Don't forget,
602.
we gotta roll it back
There's no township person.
in Title 8.
Colleagues, anybody? This says Frank Schilling from Royal Farms. Anyone here want to?
We just did this. We just fixed this session. This is what we were just working on, isn't
No,
it?
we didn't do 560. We did 561. Then we went
No, but I'm saying this deals with
No, but
12.
it's a different,
They're-
17,
he wants to
602.
delete
Oh, I'm sorry,
9 through
A.
12.
Speech.
He wants to what?
But
He
Bobby's got 'em
proposes
highlighted.
deleting lines 9 through 12, which you kept.
No, no.
Yeah. Okay. No motion. Okay. We dealt with it. We're now on T 831,
I don't-
page 295, line 21, which is planning.
This is somewhat technical in nature. It was brought to our attention that we interchangeably use the terms digital billboard and electronic billboard, and they're really the same thing. To avoid confusion, we recommend a word search through Title 17, and where it says electronic,
Okay,
it should be
so-
changed to digital.
That's technical.
Yeah.
I think so. Well, we use two different words, and so that's bad form. One word, digital. Right.
Okay. So T 831 is technical. We already voted on that. We voted on technical from the beginning. We are now on T 562. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize for this, but I wrote myself a note, and I need to do it now before it gets forgotten. I would ask you if you, based on the approval as it is of 635 that we just spent a lot of time on,
We
what
just
I'd
did
like
that,
to
didn't we?
do is go back to 17-602 on the previous page and add a phrase that says, except as provided in 17-601 of this subtitle. So I apologize to you.
Where?
Right here on page 2, it's on page 293, at the bottom of the page, 17-515, window signs temporary. And what I would, it says this. Now, this is not about any kind of, it's everybody. Temporary signs affixed to the inside of a window or mounted within 12 inches of a window are exempt from sign permit requirements. These are temporary, as long as the total of all window signs, whether permanent or temporary, but not counting window displays, occupies no more than 25% of the total window area. All I want to do is add a phrase that says, except as provided, except as provided in 17-601 of this subtitle. In other words, I want to distinguish what we did a minute ago from a generic
17-602.
temporary.
17602, alcohol beverages and cigarettes.
No,
Not the whole, Read-
no.
You don't want to be dealing with billboards and moving and.
No,
unseen and
16,
changing.
no, 17-601 is
Seven-
what we just did.
No, we did 17602.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're absolutely right, and that's what I want. I'm sorry, I had covered it up with all my magic markers. Okay? Would you mind if I made that motion, just to add that phrase?
Huh? Just let's back up for a minute, because so staff and everyone knows they're writing this stuff
Okay.
down.
In other
Slow
words-
down, tell us the page and the line.
Gosh, I feel like I'm with the
Huh?
planning department.
We need your page and the line,
Page 293.
okay?
293,
Line.
section, okay, 17-515, window signs temporary.
Line 30.
Line 30.
That's what we need, line 30?
At the end of line 30, so that there's no confusion about 25%, 15%, whatever. This is about temporary signs, and it says, don't worry about things. And then I'm
Just-
adding, except as provided in section 17-602 of this subtitle.
Okay. You got that? Is that a new amendment, or was that what?
That is a, yes, it does. It just distinguishes.
Wait, I gotta hear what she has to say.
That's
This is a new-
exactly correct. Councilwoman is right. What it does is it distinguishes what we just did in 602 from this generic temporary sign language.
Okay. So
That's-
we have to assign out a number, I'm being told.
How about TFFF? That's what I've assigned it in my book.
What is it?
T-FFF.
T is in Paul or T is in Tom?
T is in Tom. It's a T, like it's one of our. I
So
always.
the question is, did we discuss this in the past, or is it because of 561?
No, it's just a result.
Of-
We've talked a lot in these committees about the 25% and wanting to reduce it.
yes.
I'm not suggesting that here. We've discussed the topic.
Okay.
And that's what led us to what we did with 602.
Okay, so you're moving? Second. Moved by Councilwoman Clark, second by Councilman Kraft. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. TFFF passes.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
You're welcome. We're now on, is this
Okay.
T5, did we do T557 planning?
That sounds like a
Huh?
familiar number. Wait a minute, wait a minute.
T562. T562, right? We didn't do that yet. 562.
I'm 63, I'm 563.
Okay, all right. We're on page, okay, we're on T562, correct? Okay, that's planning. Page
Yes.
295.
This is again in the billboard section, and again, as the committee is aware, new billboards are prohibited. In the drafting of this code, we recognize the digital is kind of the way of the future with billboards, and the zoning board, as a rather routine matter in the last few years,
Okay.
has been allowing billboard owners to swap their one billboard
Right.
for a digital. And though we may be too late in this language, we suggest in this new code that if someone wants to go to the board and ask to go to digital, they have to remove 3 billboards and can put in 1 digital. That's what this says, and the amendment is to make it clear that the new one is in the place of one of the 3.
Yeah, she's good. Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Kraft. Do I have a second?
3 for 1,
Huh?
3 for 1, second.
Yeah. Who seconded it?
Me.
Mary Pat? Clark seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. 562 passes. We're now
Oh,
on
that's me.
5T563, page 296, line 10, Mary Pat Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. Over in my district, the 901 Youth Arts Center, for example, participated in an art project to paint. It's so cute. Like storm drains, it looks like animals are coming out from them, like, like fish and things along the curbing. All right, so with that in mind, on page 297, 560, oh my gosh, I'm in the wrong place. We didn't do 63, did we? No, I'm sorry. I got to go back to 563. Yeah, I'm sorry.
563.
Okay, 563.
29610.
Page 296, 17-604. What I'm doing here is these are moving or flashing signs. What I'm doing basically is amending them so that they are, certain districts are excluded from having them. The language is tricky because it's a double negative, but let me go through it. So there are three changes in 563. First of all, I'm going to read how I amended it or proposed. General prohibition, except as provided in B of this section, or when allowed, or when allowed for barber poles or as a classic sign. No sign may have or consist of 1, any moving, rotating, or otherwise animated part, or 2, any flashing, blinking, fluctuating, or otherwise animated light. So the change there is I put a barber pole up there, and then add to amend and delete. Exceptions, which means these, I've added districts that can't get all the animated doodads listed below. So except in C1, C1VC, and IMU zoning districts, everybody else can get indoor entertainment marquees, electronic message signs, signs that show the time of day, temperature, weather forecast, or news. I took barber poles out of there because you can get them. I put them up where you can get them. And scrolling newscast signs, but only in the C5 district. So see why it's complicated to explain, because it's a double negative.
It's confusing.
It is confusing. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking C1 Village Center, and IMU, Industrial Mixed Use, out of eligibility to have in their districts, except for barber poles, all these moving things like indoor entertainment marquees, electronic message signs, time of day, temperature, weather forecast, news, scrolling newscast signs. So that's what it does. That's really what it adds up to. And I move barber poles because everybody, they move, but they're not like distracting. We're used to them. I'd like to make a motion to adopt this 563.
Is there a second? No second. Fails the motion on T563. There goes the barber poles.
I got another one.
We are now on, Councilwoman, we are now on, I guess what, T565, page
That's me.
297. There's no line here, but you want to,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Lines 2 to 5.
line what?
Page 297, lines 2 to 5. I'm adding a introductory phrase. This is under snipe signs, general prohibition. Basically what it says is you can't have any sign painted, pasted, or otherwise affixed to any tree, rock, utility pole, hydrant, bridge, sidewalk, curb, street bench, or trash receptacles. You can't do that, which is a good thing to prohibit. But then there are things that art projects do that. So what I've done is I've said, except for environmental and safety projects approved and granted permission by the city of Baltimore, you can't paint any of these things. So, like in my district, which I jumped ahead and started to tell you about, they've got all kinds of, the 901 Youth Arts Center has all kinds of storm drain paintings of, it's like the creatures are crawling out from the storm drains onto the curbs and sidewalks. It's really cool. So when you do things like that, that are organized and creative and controlled, then you should be able to get permission to do it.
Well, let's, law
So
department, you wanna?
what?
We do already regulate some of that stuff in Article 19 of the City Code, the police section. And so whatever we do here, we should be consistent, or vice versa. We should be consistent with what we're already doing there.
So how does that work
So
with
what are you
this?
saying?
It's already being regulated in another section. That's what we're saying.
Right here, like, people like read this as if it like actually told them things.
Well, I
So-
think the intention of what is in the zoning code is to prohibit businesses from just painting their signs on all this stuff. And it falls under signs. I don't think the artwork would fall under signs, so it may be, your language doesn't cause any problems, but it may be somewhat unnecessary.
Well, a lot of what I've put in may not legally be necessary, but people just read words and they take them to heart. And I would like them to not see that they can't do what they just got a grant to do. I mean, that's how, see, we're sitting here now, it's 2016, we're all sitting around and we're saying, well, yeah. 5 years from now, you know, we're not going to be here probably, or if we are, we're not going to remember. And other people are going to pick up books and read them and believe that they mean something. So I just want everybody to know, if you get some, that this is not a prohibition for, you can get permission if you have a project. If you're a kid in a group.
Councilman Kraft?
Yeah. No, I think that when you get about any sign, I think that you run some risk of confusion there, particularly when people are tagging. If you look down at some of the tagging under the 83, under the overpass there, some of that stuff could, in fact, be interpreted as a sign. So only thing that I would say is, except for environmental, I would add art, you know, environmental, art, and safety projects, because those things I think the approval is as an art project because those guys actually have permits, the guys
Yeah,
that are
they do.
tagging down there. And they are,
They do?
yeah, because I know a government official who thought he had caught him in the middle of it, went down, called the police, got them all there, and the guys
no.
pulled out a permit showing that they had permits to do it. So,
Kara?
Kara Kunst with the Council President's Office. Could I suggest alternative language that I think captures what Councilwoman Clark is trying to get to, instead of except for environmental and safety projects approved and granted permission by the City of Baltimore? Could it be worded as except for official governmental programs and activities or city-endorsed charitable functions or activities? And then I think it would cover all of the art projects like 901 Arts, which gets permission, as well as anything the city does.
Need to write it down because I need to remember what except for what? Stephanie?
Official governmental programs or activities or city-endorsed
Programs or activities. Sorry.
or city-endorsed charitable functions or activities.
Activities, wait a minute. So far I've got except for official governmental programs or activities
Or city-endorsed
Or city endorsed,
Charitable functions or activities.
and city endorsed.
Yes, not or, and.
And city endorsed charitable functions,
And activities.
endorsed. No, we'd be the ones that had to do sewers and things like that.
Okay.
So, and city endorsed charities and functions and activities, charity function and activities,
Just vote the amendment.
charities, functions and
So we're good with
activities,
that?
Charitable
Okay. so-
charitable functions.
and activities, she said.
Oh, okay, charitable functions and activities. I mean,
Okay, you got a motion. Is that the motion?
I do,
Okay.
that's my motion, which says, I'm gonna say it out loud.
We already, Councilman, I think it was stated, unless they want to read it again, but, huh?
Yeah. Except for, this is what it is morphed into, just like those sea creatures coming out of the storm drain in Waverly. Except for official governmental programs or activities and city-endorsed charitable functions and activities, you can't paint on curbs and sewers and things. Okay? I mean, the rest is what's in there already.
A second.
I'd like to move that, if
Moved by
that's
Councilwoman
okay.
Clark,
You hear
second
that?
by Councilman Kraft. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. T-565 passes.
Creatures? Okay. Approved.
We are now on T-666, Mary Pat Clark.
Oh, is that mine? Okay. Oh, okay, sure.
Is that Mary Pat, is that yours, Mary Pat Clark?
Yes, yes, yes. It
Huh?
is. Yes.
So.
Yes, yes, yes. Page 302, lines 3 to 5, 566.
That's page what? Page
302.
302. 302, and it's line what, 3?
It's line 3 to 5. And then it also, you can see that it has two parts to it. So after, I'm going to also take you down to page 202, lines 21 to 23, part of the same proposed amendment.
Let's stick with T-666. Right?
Okay, they're both 566, so I'll do them one at a time. All right, the first one, freestanding signs. This is under electronic. What happened?
You skipped one. 666.
You're on 666, right?
I'm sorry, I wasn't. I don't even know where it is.
Okay, let me start over.
Okay, sure.
We are
I'm
now
sorry.
on T-666,
Okay.
which is page 302, and it says here lines 3 through 4. There's no person here that offered the amendment, but for
Wait.
some reason MPC is on there
Okay, wait.
with a question mark. Is this yours?
Maybe it is. Is it? Because I've got lines 3 to 5. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're reading from the chart.
I think okay. T-66 didn't have no sponsor, but you're sponsoring T-566. So
Yeah,
there's really-
I'm sorry. I just didn't see a name.
Yeah.
I don't think that's me.
No, I think that's my mistake. That's my mistake.
I don't know how I
Does
missed it.
anyone? So does anyone on the committee is looking at T-666 because I don't have a name on here?
Well, maybe it's me. Maybe I wanted to be. I don't think I.
Okay, there's no motion. No motion. We'll go to T-566. Let's do your T-566.
All right. Sorry
No, you're
for
good.
the confusion. Oh. T566. It comes in two parts.
That's page 302.
Yes, sir. 302,
Lines
and it
3
begins. And
through
if you
5.
look at your charts and at the sheets I've given you, you'll see that there's two parts to this amendment, but I'll take them one at a time. This is about electronic message boards, those kinds of signs. It's all about them. And so, What I've done is amended page 302, lines 3 to 5, to delete from having electronic message boards, open space, C1, and C1 Village Center zoning districts. I think I got that right, yeah. So I'd like to move the deletion of open space C1, C1VC from eligible
Good with that.
zoning districts to have electronic
I'm putting no on that. Jack's got
message
no.
boards.
Jack's got no, so. Okay, so you making a motion?
I made it. Is anybody going to second me? Okay.
No.
All right,
No
so,
second on 566, so now we are what?
wait a minute, it's like this. It's like,
There's two
it's
parts.
C1BC.
It's two parts to this? Are you finished?
Yeah, there are two parts to it. I'm talking about like in front of Eddie's.
It's on the chart.
I second.
Thank you.
Let's start from the beginning so we're all on the same page.
Okay, we're back to the first part of.
The first
Yeah,
part,
no.
there's no motion, right?
I think we have a motion to reconsider from the majority side from the,
Okay.
yeah. So could we have a reconsideration of the first part of 566, please?
Yes.
Thank
I mean-
you. I'd like to move, if you, all right, so I'd like to move for reconsideration of 566, Part 1.
All those in favor to,
Reconsider?
Consider, yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
oppose, but go ahead.
No.
So
All right, I'd
the
like to
ayes have
move
it.
to take open space, C1 and C1 Village Center zoning districts out of electronic message sign use.
Second.
Okay, it's moved by Councilwoman
Clark.
Clark, second by Councilwoman Middleton. Councilman Rice Singer votes no. Councilman Kraft?
No.
Councilman Kraft, no. Councilman Branch? Yes. You say?
Yes.
Councilman Branch is yes. Councilwoman Clark
Yes?
is, you say yes?
Yes.
Yes. Councilman Henry is absent. Councilwoman Middleton?
Yes.
Councilman Middleton, yes. Councilman Mosby?
Oh,
Councilman Mosby is
he was going to be such a good mayor.
no. This fails, the motion fails. by
No, I
majority.
got the other one from the
So
other day.
566, the lack of majority.
Okay, so now I'm on, Mr. Chairman, I'm on the second part of 566.
Part B,
Part, yeah, well, it's under F for size, lines 21 to 23. And I am doing the same thing. The electronic message component may not exceed 10 square feet in area, except in certain districts. And I am removing from having those up to 10 square feet in area, C1, C1VC.
C1VC.
And I'm adding C2. I don't know why I did that, but I did.
She wants to make
And it's right there. That's what I'm doing. So
right.
this is where you have a big message sign.
And this is zoning board,
Zoning board approval? Did I, wait a minute, excuse me.
okay, so that's 56-2. Is there
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, 21 to
is
23?
there a question on your motion by anyone? You want to add, is there an addition to this?
Well, you know, if I may say so, I don't know why I put C2 in here on my typed thing.
You don't have it on here.
Oh, good. But it's in my,
Okay.
it's in my printed, and that was a mistake, So I'm crossing that out. So in other words, you would take out C1 and C1 Village Center from having message boards that are 10 feet square, okay? That large. So that's what this amendment, second part does. I'd like to move that amendment.
Okay, moved by Councilwoman Clark, but as a question on the motion, Councilman Kraft.
Laurie, so this electronic message, okay, this is the digital board, right? That's what,
No, these are not necessarily These are not necessarily the high-tech digital ones. These are the
thought-
smaller
I
electronic
thought we
signs.
took digital and electronic and turned them all into electronic.
No,
And that would-
these electronic messages are something different. These are typically the,
So we have a different,
this is an older
I-
technology. This is not the changing digital. This is the,
do we have a separate, do we have a separate definition between a digital message and an electronic message?
yes, I hope so, and if not, we need to, because they are two different things.
Yeah, I don't,
I thought we had already collapsed those earlier, and so I'm with the council member.
Let me double check.
Yeah.
I thought these were something different.
no, they didn't, there is not a separate definition for electronic messages.
We have an electronic message sign, means a sign or portion of sign that changes lights to form a message or message in text from where the sequence of messages. This is the more old-fashioned approach, and
As opposed to an electronic display? The display is the one that has the video or the LED or something?
the digital is usually the display. I think you guys may be right that these would
It's
get.
confusing.
Of course we're right.
Yeah, I think you are right.
If you want to regulate it, let's have a different definition.
Yeah.
All I want to do is make sure that if somebody looks at this, that they know what they're seeing, because if you go down 83 and you see, or you go 95 and you see the board that switches the thing, the digital board, that board is not 2 feet by 5 feet,
Yeah,
that
no,
board
this is the same type. I'm sorry, this is the same type of technology. These are for permanent signs, not billboards. In other words, we are in Section 8 is the permanent sign section, and this is the provision to do that type of sign on a business, that sort of thing. So this is not in regards to a billboard.
This says September, okay. It's permanent signs,
We're under the permanent sign section.
is
so we're still-
electronic message signs.
Right, but it is the same technology.
Well, we're going to have a lot
Well,
of...
So I guess we'll have to clean up that language.
Okay. Can we come back to this and get some language straightened out here?
Yes.
Wait a minute. I'm trying to get my C1s and C1 VCs out of this before we forget and they
We're not going to
start screaming.
forget, Councilwoman, there's got a clarity. Go ahead, Councilman
Yeah,
Kraft.
well,
Can I just-
I think there's a difference if it's just an electronic message and we're talking about just putting a banner,
That tells you it's
that says
gonna snow.
something like that, then you may want to, personally, I may feel, okay, look, I can take it out for them, but if it's the video and the other thing, then I don't know that I want a limitation on the square footage, because you can't do much with 6 square feet or 12 square feet. So I think we really need to know the difference between them, and we need to clarify which is which.
I understand. May I just say this? I don't care if it's words saying it's going to snow or...
Well, that's
it's
what we're trying to figure out.
A little person running in like Mickey Mouse shoes across waving a flag. I don't want it in C1 VC.
Well, let's get the clarity.
Well, it's
She's saying
clear
that
to
she didn't
me
care what it is.
that
Regardless, she
certainly
doesn't want it there, yeah.
C1 VC, people are not going to
Well, if that's the case, you want to make a motion and you
Yeah,
need
I'd
a
like
second.
to ask for adoption of the second part of
Okay.
T-566.
Do we have a second? Second? No second?
No second.
It fails.
Okay.
566 fails.
All right.
Lack
just
of.
Run it on the board and tell them it failed.
We're now on T568, which is page 307, planning.
This is to allow those parking signs, the P signs, to be internally illuminated where in other words, to be exempt from the prohibition of internal illumination.
Okay, so 568, right? Moved by Councilman Mosby. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Kraft. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Where is it?
Anybody opposed?
Where is it?
So on page 307, and it would be the parking access signs.
Line 8 through 11.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Okay?
Sure.
No, okay, so, no one opposes, the ayes have it, 568 passes. We now have T569, page 307. Is this the same 8 through 11, planning?
It's
Oh,
the
I
same
think they
thing.
duplicate, yes.
Okay, so we won't make it.
68 and 69 are
No
the same.
motion, okay.
I am worn out.
T567, yeah, T567, this is planning, page 307, you got a line on that?
Wait a
17,
second,
8,
8, 12, E, hold on, it's on 308.
307,
I think it's in the section that carries on to 308, and it is the, a recommendation that be deleted. Under design and construction,
It's not, it's
the
308,
secure-
4 and 5.
right. It's the no projecting sign may be secured by wire chain, so it'd be lines 4 and 5 delete.
okay.
And this is per downtown partnership.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Kraft, have a second? Second by Councilman Mosby, all those in favor say aye.
One right here.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. 567 favorable. T5, okay, Councilwoman Clark. We have T570. You're on page 308, line 16 and 17. That's residential identification signs, right?
Mr.
Second.
Thanks.
You move?
Moved and I've been
Moved
duly
by
seconded
Councilwoman
on
Clark, second by
570.
Councilman Kraft. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The
All right,
ayes have it. T570 passes.
Okay, 571.
Wait, let me
I'd like
get,
to-
wait, let me get settled here. I'm not update as you are, Councilwoman. Let me. Okay, where we at here? We're on T571, Councilwoman Clark, page 308.
Page 308.
Line 20 through 23. Check
Yes.
this. No on this.
Petunia. I'm moving to amend to reduce the maximum square footage and height of identification signs in residential districts, limiting the, amending 15 square feet to 9 square feet and 12 square feet to 6 square feet. I would like to move that amendment.
Moved by Councilwoman Clark. Do we have a second?
Second, anybody?
Second by who?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Middleton. Councilman Reisinger votes no. Councilman Kraft? Councilman Kraft, no. Councilman Branch? No. What do you say?
No.
Councilman Branch is no. Councilwoman Clark?
Yes.
Councilwoman Clark is yes. Councilman Henry is absent. Councilwoman Middleton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Middleton, yes. Councilman Mosby? No. Councilman Mosby? No. We have two noes. We have two
Yeah,
two
really.
yeses with 4 noes. 571 fails.
Okay, but there's a second part to it.
Wait a minute, T5, so it's
Defeated.
T571.
Well,
So this is T571 2?
yeah, it
B.
is. It's page 308, line 23. It is, now these are residential. It's in the residentially zoned neighborhoods. And right now,
23.
freestanding residential identification signs
6 feet, what's
in
she
your
want?
neighborhood and mine are limited in this proposal to 6 feet in height. 6 feet. I am changing this to
No.
3 feet. I would like your support, please. Move that amendment.
Councilwoman Clark moves, do we have a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Middleton. Okay, Councilman Reisinger votes no. Councilman Kraft? No. Councilman Kraft, no. Councilman Branch?
Really?
Yes.
Oh, thank
Did
you.
you say yes?
He said
Councilman
yes.
Branch is yes. Councilwoman Clark
Yes.
is yes. Councilman Henry is absent. Councilwoman Middleton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Middleton, yes. Councilman Mosby?
6 feet? All right.
Councilman Mosby,
Back in the
yes.
race.
4 yes, 2 nays, with 1 absent.
Approved.
571B.
There you go.
571B passes.
We are all.
Right? 571-2.
71B passes.
Okay,
So-
is there more?
Now we have, Mary Pat Clark, we have T665. I know you're celebrating, but it's T665, page, well, see, I don't know.
Doesn't
There's,
have any
there's no
names.
name on this one
Wait a
either.
minute. That was, that's, I think that's,
That's 665. There's no name on this.
okay. Where is it? Wait a minute. I'm sorry, just give me a minute.
I think we just did that.
5.
We just did that. It said
Oh,
amend,
it's
combine all
660.
residential districts. We did it. We moved it to
Yeah,
R10.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
So
I-
now, Councilwoman Clark, we're on T572. What's it? What's
okay.
T572? Is it on here?
Page 30,
Title 17.
woo.
The last one.
Well, I got one after that.
Where's T572?
Where am I? 572? Yeah. Page 309, after line 13. Now, these are wall signs. I'm moving to delete on page 309 to 311. This is all about internally illuminated box wall signs. Do you have them or do you not? And my amendment, where I delete the first, where I delete up to line 13 on page 309, and then add the following language. Here's what I'm adding. Wall signs are prohibited uses in the R1A through R8 zoning districts. Wall signs are conditional uses requiring zoning board approval for non-residential uses in the R9 and R10 residential and the OR districts in the they are conditional for C1, C1B, C, and C2 commercial districts, and in the IMU industrial district. And they are limited not to 18 square feet in area, but to 12 square feet. Internally illuminated cabinet box wall signs are prohibited in zoning districts in subsection B of this section. So in other words, in, our,
3x3.
in our 1 through R8, and they are conditional according to my amendments. I'm sorry, I literally need to go back and look at B and make sure I'm saying it right now. They are, I'm meaning for them to be prohibited to be prohibited in R1A through R8. And conditional uses, zoning board, in R9 and R10, OR, office residential, C1 village center, and C2 and IMU, all conditional zoning board. These are the boxes that are illuminated from inside that go on walls.
Councilwoman, as written, they're prohibited in all those districts, so I'm not sure
They're at this point.
what you're getting at. If you look at line 19 and then also at line 27, it says internally illuminated cabinets, wall signs are prohibited.
I know there's a reason for this, but I don't know what it is. And so as long as I have what I need, I don't care if planning wrote it or I wrote it, I'll take it. Now, the only remaining part of this amendment, though, is, and I'd like to make a motion on that, I would like to change where it is allowed or is a conditional use by the zoning board. I would like to change the wall illuminated signs from 18 to 12 square feet. I'd like to move that.
Hold on, where are we?
I'm in, no, that was always part of this. It's the part,
Reasonable. I think that's reasonable.
yeah.
size.
I mean, in all these things, there's a nugget of reason.
You just want to change from 18 to 12, right?
Yes,
That's it?
sir. Square
Okay.
feet.
Okay, so,
It's been duly noted and seconded.
Only 6 feet.
It's just
Too much.
too much. This
I
is
think
in line.
just to give some images to what these are your Highfield House, your Warrington, your Marlborough Apartments, your Emerson, that put their names on the building and put a light on it.
Yeah, they're existing. They've got their signs.
We're not talking about commercial signs because this whole section is in regards to residential districts.
Yeah, we're not gonna roll them
all
out
right.
the way we
So-
are, though.
Councilwoman
Okay.
Clark,
Oh,
there's a
sorry,
question.
apologize. This is the non-residential. We did the residential. Okay, you're right.
Discussing if we can grandfather in the 12 footage.
Oh, whatever. I mean, we can grandfather in all right. We're not gonna grandfather what we did earlier about the signs, where we're gonna roll them back under Title 18.
Right.
But in the natural course of these zoning matters, unless we set out to roll back, they are grandfathered. So the Highfield House, which is a beautiful,
And actually, I take that back. These would be the non-residential. So this would be the Baltimore Museum of Art. This would be it could be a school. It could be those. I'm sorry. Right, except that's in a commercial district. But, yeah.
these are in the residential
Right,
district,
these are
correct?
the non-residential uses in the residential. The BMA is probably the best example of.
They're zoned residential.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So they would be subject to this because this is the non-residential uses in a residential
I'm sure
district.
they must have gotten a sign for the BMA after all these years. I mean, so they probably will be grandfathered.
Of course, they will be grandfathered, but the next amazing institution won't be.
All right, so you have a motion.
I have a motion.
Do we have a second?
We did.
No?
Well, I mean,
No second?
yeah, she seconded
Who?
it. She did it a couple times.
Middleton seconds. Councilman Reisinger votes no. Councilman Kraft? No. Councilman Kraft, no. Councilman Grants? No. Councilman Grants, no. Councilwoman Clark?
Yes.
Yes. Councilman Henry is absent. Don't you miss him. Councilwoman Middleton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Middleton, yes. Councilman
okay.
Mosby? No. Councilman Mosby, no. Fails.
It'll be the first
For the
time in your
majority
life.
motion on T572. We are now,
Oh, I have I do have something that wasn't on your list. It's really easy. If you don't mind, may I? It's just.
yes, you may. I mean, we go this far. So,
I have-
do we have a copy of it?
Yeah, you have it on your sheets that I handed out with my amendments. It's, I can't, it's T-EEE. And, this is about the special area for sign control.
Have
So-
we done a TEEE before?
No. Did we? I know we've done F.
Have we? I'm seriously, have we done it?
No. Did we do an E?
Yeah.
Okay, FG. Let me do, I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep these in line. Let me call this TGGG.
TGG? 3G.
G.
TGGG.
Yes. So for people that don't know what I'm talking about, every amendment submitted gets a number, a T-dash number with 3 digits. But if you've got something you want to add, the digits are used up. So the best way to do it is to say like T-dash
is
alphabet,
line
alphabet,
14.
alphabet number, you know. All I'm saying here is page 313, line 14. There's going to be something called a special sign control district. So after we go through all this trouble of deciding what to do about signs, if you don't like it, then you come and get your own sign district and have your own sign laws. Now, all I'm adding is to make it very clear that a special sign control district is subject to approval by the city council ordinance. That is
By what approval?
city
Conditional?
council ordinance. Like if
Okay.
you're going to create a district that's going to have its own sign provisions, like
I think it says that on page 312, line 10. If you
know
want to
it
say
does,
it
but
twice,
I just
I
like
don't
the way I
object.
said it better. I just liked it. I liked it clearly stated and not by inference.
Okay, do you want to make a motion?
I'd like to, help me on this one. It's right here.
It's already a law, right? Huh?
No problem.
Okay. Councilwoman Clark, you move.
I'd like,
Yeah. Do we have a
yes,
second?
move.
Do we have a second?
Move this. Would somebody
Second.
second me?
Grant seconding? All those
I
in
like it
favor,
there.
say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it.
Just to put
TGGG passed.
Thank you very much.
Now, let me finish,
My mother
we're not doing
was
18,
never
right?
frightened by anything.
Mr. Chair, I think we should have a field trip to Times Square and take Mary Pat up there. I think she would be terrified.
Mr. Chairman, I'm afraid that he's going to try to put me on top of that thing that comes down at midnight, and I'll be up there for 2016. So, thank you for the suggestion.
The Land Use and Transportation Committee will recess, and we will
I finally got the
reconvene,
votes of the council.
February the 5th at 10 a.m. Thank you.
Pretty good. The important things. I feel good because I really wanted that liquor stuff.